Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, February 20th Board of County Commission meetings. We do begin each of our meetings with an invocation, and we have Henry McCullough signed up to do it, but I don't see him here in the room. Just wanted to double check. Okay, with that, we'll have Commissioner Geithner lead us in the invocation. Please feel free to join us if you would like.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here this morning to be able to make good, wise decisions for the people of El Paso County. Lord, we ask that you will give us wisdom and courage to do the things that are right. We ask that you will watch over and bless our entire county, everyone who lives here. Lord, we ask you to be with those who are low in spirit and offer them your comfort at this time. And we ask that you protect our law enforcement officers and look particularly after our military. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Clerk and Recorder Steve Schleicher, will you please lead us in the pledge?
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 3.
Item number 3 is staff emergency items, and I'm unaware of any staff emergency items today.
Item number 4.
Item number 4 is changes, postponements, and notice of the next meeting. I'm aware of one change to the meeting today. The board will consider the Public Improvement District number 2 meeting before the executive session request. And the next meeting will be Thursday, February 22nd at 9:00 a.m. for land use.
Item number 5.
Item number 5 is the consent calendar consisting of items 5A through 5F2.
Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on items 5A through 5F2? Hearing none in the room. Any online? Thank you. Comments, questions, and or a motion from the board?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to just maybe ask the staff a question that you can do a follow-up with me on, but there was a law passed recently that centralized ambulance permit services at the state level, and we're continuing to issue ambulance permits. So I'm just wondering, is there a future date when that becomes effective, or what's the interface between that law and what we're doing? And if you don't have an answer right now, you can just get it to me later. But I have that question.
Yeah, I will follow up with you, Commissioner, on that question. I don't have the exact answer currently. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. With that in mind, I'd be happy to make a motion to approve the consent calendar items 5A through F2.
I will second that.
Any further comments from the board? Okay, I'll call the roll with a full board today. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The consent calendar, item number 5, passes unanimously. Item number 6.
Item number 6 is comments by elected officials and commissioner liaison reports. 6A, 2024 presidential primary election update. Steve Schleicher, Clerk and Recorder.
Good morning, Commissioner. Steve Schleicher, El Paso County Clerk and Recorder, and I have a very quick weekly update for you. So today we are setting up the Citizen Service Center Motor Vehicle Branch. Will be set up as a VSPC. As of 8 o'clock this morning, we've also begun our refresher registration election judge training. So they will be in there all day from 8 to 5. Tomorrow, UCCS we're going to have set up as a VSPC, and also tomorrow you will see Centennial Hall here on the first floor being set up as well. In addition to that, we have a full day of judges coming in for new voter registration judge training. Thursday, we're going to be setting our Powers Motor Vehicle Branch and Fort Carson Motor Vehicle branches. We're getting them set up as VSPCs, and we're going to be doing a second day of new voter registration judge training. Friday, we're going to have election site coordinator training and also ballots on demand, our BOD machines that are in our VSPCs. We're doing that judge training on Friday. Saturday, our Union Town Center motor vehicle branch will be set up as a VSPC. So when we close our motor vehicle branch at 1 o'clock this Saturday, we will be going in directly right after setting it up as a VSPC. So by the end of this week, my office will have 5 voter service and polling centers ready to open at 8 a.m. on Monday, and we'll have conducted all of our election judge training by the close of business Friday. So just to share with you again some important dates to remember for this election, if a voter does not receive their ballot by the end of this week, please call my office at 719-575-VOTE or email us at elections@elpasoco.com. Monday, February 26th is the last day recommended to return your ballot through the United States Postal Service. And ballots must be received by 7 p.m. on Election Day, Tuesday, March 5th, and postmarks do not count. We will start counting the ballots next Tuesday on February 27th. So that is my update for the week. We have a pretty busy week ahead of us. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, Commissioners.
Are there any other countywide elected officials in the room or online? Okay, with that, we will begin with Commissioner Williams.
Yes, good morning. Of course, my heart goes out to the families and students of UCCS. I want to thank all of our emergency responders for being there on the scene, but also most importantly, I would like to thank those who will be there on campus to help with the mental health needs of the students in the upcoming weeks. I think that is very important during this time of crisis. This week on my calendar, I have, we have our meetings today. Then we have also meetings on Thursday. It looks like it's in, I have a Community Development Advisory Board meeting tomorrow at 12:30, as well as a community packing party over at the YMCA on Jetwing Drive. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I also would like to express my condolences to the families and also the students at UCCS. What a terrible event. I know there were a lot of activities yesterday, and I think at least some folks from the county were able to be at those. But unfortunately, you know, we now have to go through a healing process for that. And I just hope that justice is done for the perpetrator of that crime. And once again, I express my condolences and offer my prayers to the family members for those that we lost. Okay, with that, I would like to just mention, and I continue to receive comments from constituents of mine expressing gratitude to this board for the redistricting process that we went through. Many of them thought that what we did was in fact pretty thoughtful, and some of them had some concerns, but they actually do continue to talk to me about the fact that where we got at the end state, they were actually really happy with it. But so I just wanted to let my fellow commissioners know that I continue to get that kind of feedback. All right, so on to some calendar items. Tomorrow I will be at the State Board of Health, and also later this afternoon I will be at the Colorado Springs Public Art Board meeting. Just a reminder, and I think I mentioned this last time, that I will not be at the land use hearing this Thursday. So hopefully that you all recall that. And then next week on Monday, I will be participating in the El Paso County Retirement Board activity, and also on Monday next week is a Workforce Consortium Board meeting, and I'll be participating in that as well. Now, over the weekend, I did participate in the League of Women Voters event, and happy to share privately with my fellow commissioners how that went, but I did go to that meeting, and that is all that I have for my announcements. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I too want to pass along my condolences to the families. My prayers for the victims from the UCCS on Friday. Such a tragedy and a difficult time for the campus community and family. I do want to thank Chancellor Sobanet for her strong leadership the last several days. It was evident how much she cares about her campus and her family there with all the students. I was able to attend the Unity Walk yesterday on campus, and though clearly all were grieving, it was uplifting to see so many from the campus family and our community come together to remember the lost lives. Thank you.
Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you. So quite a few things going on this week. I will be participating tomorrow in the library district meeting. On Thursday, of course, after our regular land use meeting, there is a organization doing a presentation. The organization is called One Chance to Grow Up. It's an opportunity to hear about the impacts, particularly of drug use, particularly around marijuana on young people. And so I am looking forward to attending that. Also on Thursday, there is a regional building meeting. And also on Thursday and Friday, and I know that Commissioner Gonzalez and I will get this divvied up here in the next day or so, but we have CCI steering committee meetings all day Thursday and Friday to look at state legislation. So I know we'll be coordinating schedules to make sure we have representation there. And of course, there are others who also participate, but generally, Commissioner Gonzalez and I do the majority of that. So that is all I have for this week.
Thank you, and thank you to all of the commissioners who continue to stay involved in making sure that El Paso County voices are heard at the state legislature. It is indeed a busy, busy season for that. I too wanted to, my colleagues have said it so well, but my heart has been heavy since last Friday for the entire UCCS community and for the chancellor, the leadership, the faculty, the students, everyone there. I am deeply grieved, but also very, very proud of how everyone has handled themselves. Commissioner Gonzalez mentioned our new chancellor, Jennifer Sobanet, who has just really been a rock of compassion. And that's just an incredible thing to see, and she clearly deeply cares for that community and the students and the entire community and its impacts. I don't think anyone else has said the names yet, so I will. I would like to specifically pray for the families and close friends of UCCS student Samuel Knopp, and then Celie Rain Montgomery, who was not a student, but another young person with a life gone too soon. Regarding Commissioner VanderWerf's comments about redistricting, I think it's coming back up again because many were notified via U.S. mail. I think our clerk and recorder has stepped out of the room now, but many got little postcards saying whether their district location and commissioner district had changed. So I believe that that's probably what is. I was also asked several questions. There were a lot of precincts that moved. We tried to minimize the number of precincts moved as a part of our process, but many that did, and those were all notified in the last few weeks by mail in our clerk's office. So thank you very much to that work that's being done to make sure our voter rolls are accurate and up to date and everybody knows which districts they are a part of, particularly as we head into a few county races as well. This week I have a day full of meetings today, and then I will be unable to attend the DHS packing party because I will be at the URA board meeting at that time, and then the Pikes Peak Library District Facilities Master Plan input session, and then following that, a Pikes Peak Library District board meeting as well. We do have our land use meeting on Thursday, and then hopefully we'll be out in time to attend that One Chance to Grow Up event at United Way. I believe that is it for me. Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners? Commissioner Williams.
I missed one. I wanted to thank our chairman, Commissioner Cammie Bremer, as well as our wonderful PIO staff for the State of the Region last week. It was very well done. I have heard nothing but positive comments, both on the presentation, but also especially for our PIO staff. And that's always fun to see what talent we have at that level. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Vandermeer.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate your willingness to let me do a follow-up comment. But I'd like to echo that from Commissioner Williams. I've also gotten good feedback from the State of the Region. And I do want to mention one thing in particular that I thought was very, very interesting, and that was a positive comment about holding it at a time that is not a lunch and not a dinner, because some people that are involved in a lot of these activities, community leaders and so forth, go to a lot of lunches and dinners, and they actually thought kind of a mid-morning session was pretty refreshing. So I thought I would mention that. I do want to mention one other thing that I forgot to mention, and that is with regard to the UCCS activity. Unfortunately, on the exact same day that happened, the state legislature voted to kill the Truth in Sentencing bill on the exact same day that would have required people that commit violent crimes to serve at least 85% of their sentence. And I just remain frustrated about that. But that was killed in committee, and that is the kind of bill that I think provides additional deterrence for events such as this. But it got killed by the state legislature. So I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. With no further comments, we will move on to item number 7.
Item number 7 is community service organization reports, and there are none.
Item number 8.
Item number 8 is public comment on items not scheduled on the agenda. This is the public's opportunity to speak on an item that is not scheduled on today's agenda. And Madam Chair, we did have one person sign in ahead of time to speak.
Excellent. Thank you. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on any item not on today's agenda? Please come on down, and when you get to the microphone, please introduce yourself, and your 3 minutes will begin.
Roger Mosley. I'm a resident of Palmer Lake. Good morning. This is a 4-minute scripted, so if you need to cut me off, that's fine, but you have a copy of this. Thank you. The Palmer Lake annexation of the Ben Lomond Mountain Village property is on your agenda day after tomorrow. I am speaking in order to give you a heads up and maybe a little homework regarding some serious omissions in the ongoing annexation. You may recall that you addressed this subject a couple of weeks ago, and Megan Harrington noted that the necessary documents were not provided to the county with the required lead time. You now have in your packet what is titled the Annexation Impact Report, prepared by GMS for Palmer Lake. This was a rush job, arriving in the town office the day after the first annexation eligibility hearing. Let me acquaint you with some of the defects in this report. First, GMS derived its estimates of residents based only on the 181 acres that are currently in the county. This is an error. The letter of intent from the applicant includes the entire 345 acres. The applicant has already presented a rezone position of all 7 parcels, those in the town and those in the county, to the Palmer Lake Planning Commission for 80 residences on 2.5 acres each, for a total of 200 acres. The GMS estimated only 41 residences. So you can see the error there in omitting half of the property. They also asked for ADUs, bringing the total proposed development to 160 dwellings. GMS admits 5 times in the text of the report that they made generalizations and assumptions that and that only preliminary information was made available to them. This report is the opposite of helpful for judging the risks and costs of this annexation. And let me just say that I'm in favor of this development. I just think a lot of information is missing on which to make judgments. The town did not provide any guidance to GMS for the impact report, except what is in the CRS, just a list out of the CRS. That happens to be 6 topics, including maps. The report is missing any informed impacts on the administrative staff and many other town departments. The report minimizes the cost and man hours for the additional maintenance of County Line Road. The town does not have the equipment to maintain paved highways, and GMS avoided any estimate on costs. And you can look those up pretty easily, anywhere from $1 million for a mile over 10 years to $30,000 per lane mile. And there's absolutely no costs in the impact report. The additional consideration paragraph in that report speaks to trails and open space. And by the way, thank you for your comments about those. For annexation, the CRS requires the town have a land use plan in their 3-mile plan, and we do not have that plan. It doesn't exist. Would you like me to?
We're going to ask you to keep it to the 3 minutes, so if you want to just
Okay.
finish that point, and then I will make sure that all 5 commissioners have a copy of what you
Okay,
turned
all
into
I
the
want to
board.
say is that the town doesn't have the experience, our law firm doesn't have the experience. We are not ready. This is going too fast. I hope it works out, and we would appreciate all the help that you can give us if you can think of things you can do for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And just on the heels of that, I appreciate your being here today, and I'll remind you that with annexation impacts, we don't get an official vote, but we love hearing your input, and we will consider that. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda? And none online? Okay. Item number 9.
Item number 9 is the called up consent calendar, and there are no items called up.
Item 10.
Item number 10 is the hearing on the application by Roll Up Food Truck LLC, doing business as Roll Up, for a hotel and restaurant liquor license on the premises located at 301 Main Street, El Paso County, Commissioner District 4. Jackie Allred, clerk to the board. And Madam Chair, this liquor hearing does qualify for an abbreviated hearing at the board's discretion.
Okay,
Madam Chair, may I ask the clerk a couple of questions?
please do.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, has the applicant fulfilled all state and local requirements?
Yes, the applicant has fulfilled all state and local requirements.
Does the neighborhood survey support the needs and desires of the local community for the requested license?
The neighborhood survey was favorable and supports the needs and desires, and Liquor Pros is here to present the results of that survey.
Has any opposition been voiced against the issuance of the requested license?
The clerk's office has received no opposition to date.
Is there any party in interest at today's board meeting here to formally oppose the issuance of the requested license?
I'm unaware of anyone in attendance to formally oppose, but I would ask if there is anyone in the audience to come forward at this time.
Okay. Madam Chair, hearing none. Madam Clerk, has the sheriff's investigation revealed criminal history relevant to the issuance of a liquor license?
The sheriff's investigation revealed no criminal history relevant to the issuance of the license.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam Chair, I believe this does qualify for an abbreviated hearing.
Okay, and that needs a motion and a vote to proceed with an abbreviated hearing, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
I move to move forward with an abbreviated meeting.
Second.
okay, that has been moved and seconded. Commissioner Williams?
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf?
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Let's proceed with an abbreviated hearing.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Chairperson Bremer, good morning. My name is Vince Linden, Present with me is Bryce Dillingham on behalf of Roll Up Food Truck LLC. We're seeking a hotel restaurant liquor license application approval from the commissioners this morning. We'll take advantage of your abbreviated hearing. We'll start first with the neighborhood needs and desires survey through liquor licensing professionals. So if it's okay with you, we'll ask Eva Gerritsen to present her survey results.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the commissioners. For the record, my name is Eva Gerritsen, last name Garretson, one of the owners of Liquor Licensing Professionals doing business as Liquor Pros. We conduct needs and desires survey with regards to any new liquor or marijuana license in the great state of Colorado. We've conducted at this point over 4,000 surveys in the state, and we've done so in over 100 jurisdictions after this last year. We did the needs and desires survey regarding the new hotel and restaurant liquor license for Roll Up 301 Main Street in Colorado Springs, 80911, actually down south. This particular license is located right off of State Highway 85 and off of Main Street, down there by Whitefield High School. So, conducted the needs and desires on Monday, February 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Made attempted contacts with 1,040 business owners, managers, and residents in the area. Actually visited with the applicant a little bit to find out what the concept is, who he is, what he's intending to do with the alcohol, and relayed that back to the business owners, managers, and residents inside the area. Of those, we obtained a total of 194 signatures. 33 were from business owners and managers, 27 signing in favor at 82%, 1 opposed at 3%, and 5 with no opinion at 15%. We then obtained a total of 161 signatures, residential signatures, with 145 signing in favor at 90%, 8 opposed at 5%, and 8 with no opinion. If we remove the no opinion, we actually have 95% signatures in favor and 5% opposed. We do ask these folks to write in why they're in favor or opposed to this particular license in order to provide the authority with more feedback. Page 2 states that in the box right there, reasons for opposition signatures, 6 declined to provide a reason. 1 stated because of the schools in the area. 1 said it was harmful, person stated it was harmful to lives, and 1 stated that the staff is rude and unprofessional and too close to the schools. With those last 3 reasons that don't necessarily speak to the needs and desires, we can actually remove those, and that actually bumps up the in favor signatures to 97% in favor. We did receive 6 letters back from the landowners mail survey, 1 in favor, 1 opposed, and 3 with no opinion, which didn't necessarily affect any of the percentages right there. So the 97% still shows a positive need and desire for this license in the area. And I'd be happy to answer any questions from the authority.
Do we have any questions regarding the survey? Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Allred, can I have the overhead? How does that work?
Josh, can you please give him the overhead?
The overhead, please. Thank you.
Bryce? Mr. Dillingham? Are you the owner of Roll Up Food Truck LLC?
I am.
And when did you start that company?
December 2016 is when we registered LLC.
And what was the theme or operations of Roll Up Food Truck LLC at that time?
The original operation was just a tiny food truck. We were just kind of establishing ourselves as a business. We were kind of doing the traditional food truck where you go to breweries, go to different events, and we were fully mobile. It was a semi-part-time, semi-full-time job for me, kind of testing things out before we kind of committed to jumping into that business.
Are you the sole owner of the company?
I am.
And we've got on the overhead a brick and mortar diagram. Can you see that?
Yep.
Is that the location that Ms. Gerritsen was speaking of, 301 Main Street?
Yeah.
Would you briefly take the board, I know it's a little blurry, but would you briefly take the commissioners through the diagram?
Yeah. So I'm going to start kind of with the most important part for our business. This is the old car wash bay, so everything kind of in this area. The old car wash bay is currently being remodeled into a full kitchen. We've had to go through regional to get a change of ownership or change of occupancy in the building to be able to pull permits for that. So as far as any major remodeling, the only thing that we're changing in the building is adding that full service kitchen. Kind of hitting all the fire, plumbing codes we need to hit. Everything else in the building itself is pretty much that is currently being utilized as kind of like our food prep space. Back office functions just as an office for me and the chef. That's a traditional walk-in freezer, and it has the merchandiser doors like you'd see at a normal kind of holds just our seating, sanitation stuff. There's a restroom you enter on this spot right here from the inside.
Where's the front door?
Front door, so if you pull into the parking lot, you'd be entering right here. That's our most common entrance. It kind of implies when you pull into our building, big parking lot, the front door.
Okay, and so the only entrance to the patio then is within the interior of
Yeah,
the
so our
premises?
plan is to, no matter what, if you want to access the patio, we'll have you come inside.
What are the sight lines? We have to black boundary mark the premises, so are there windows from the interior of the premises to the patio area? And if there are, can you explain where those are at?
Yeah, and then that's mostly our thinking of putting the patio here is this wall right here and this wall right here. They're all just big panes of glass. And they're slightly tinted just to keep some sun rays in, but they're fully visible from the front end. So no matter where you're at on our sales counter, you're going to have a clear view on the outside patio as well as fill in any spots that might not be clearly visible. We'll have cameras there.
You will have security cameras?
Yeah, and it's through Vivint Security, so it's going to be live stream at our location and then live stream on cell phone. Fine, like, should have that responsibility.
What would be your policy with regards to serving alcohol and checking for appropriate identification to ensure that a patron is of age or 21 years old?
So we signed up, Liquor Pros is doing a full staff training. We're training myself, all managers, everyone in the kitchen down to our dishwashers. They're going to be present at that training. The policy we've set is we ID you every time, no matter how old you look, how young you look. If you become a regular, we're still going to ID you every time. So even if we know 70 years old, we're just going to expect that you know to show us.
When is your training session scheduled with liquor licensing professionals?
Next Thursday at 5:30, so the 29th.
And for the commissioners, that's a 4-hour training, and liquor licensing professionals is one of the few, if only, they're the only organization that I recommend conduct liquor training. They are certified by the state of Colorado, so they carry a lot more weight than even I do if I were to take Mr. Dillingham through the liquor codes. Test issued to each employee at the conclusion of the training that you have to pass in order to get certified. Mr. Dillingham, did you and I have an opportunity, though, to go through the state of Colorado codes and rules?
Yeah, we
And
went through.
before you answer that, actually, can I interrupt 1 second? We can hear you very clearly here, but our official record is not picking you up unless you're speaking into the mic. Thank you.
And yeah, so we've gone through the codes. We sat down on the phone to show me exactly where to look through the codes, and I did it myself and took notes, majorly showing how we're going to inventory alcohol, keeping records of purchase on site. I noted the bigger one of the $2,000 limit of non-wholesalers. So say we find a cool place and we want to sell some of their canned beer, but it's at a maximum of 2,000 that you would also have to document and keep at the location. So I found that, as well as since we're not going to specifically try to be a bar, we want to be a restaurant with drinks, it's showing that 25% or more of revenue has to come from food sales. And we're planning on hitting that by a lot. We're trying to sell food and then supplement it with alcohol, so.
What will be your hours of operation?
Currently, it's 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Our plan is to try to extend to about 8 or 9 p.m. We're thinking 9 p.m. would be the furthest cutoff of sales in general, just to sanity of the staff, as well as not creeping too far into like a nightlife scene, so.
From a public safety perspective, we obviously talked about selling to minors, selling alcohol to minors is the primary public safety concern. You're going to make sure that every person that orders an alcoholic beverage can show identification, regardless of whether they appear to be my age or even older.
Yes. Yeah, no matter, like I said, no matter what, you're coming in to show us an ID. And we've also, we'll hit on that on the training, but no, letting our employees know we really have to monitor tables now. That way you're not sharing drinks with somebody at your table or buying two and giving one to another table. We really want to keep a clear idea of like who bought what and make sure it's staying with them at all times.
And you also understand that you can't sell alcohol to someone who appears to be intoxicated, whether through alcohol, prescription drugs, otherwise, not be served alcohol.
Yeah, not at all. And then it's also, we've touched on that with the staff, whether they become intoxicated at our location or they walk in intoxicated, we have to make that judgment call before we sell them their first drink, second drink, especially as you go on from the second. As soon as there's signs of that, it's, like I said, we're cutting you off because we're not going to be a bar. We're a restaurant that has alcohol in it.
I'll tell you, commissioners, that I've taken Mr. Dillingham through the state code. He's familiar, adequately familiar with both of them. Staff will attend the certified training program. Walk him through additional offer to you that he and I have spent. Not prohibited as a Colorado liquor licensee. Questions, we'd be happy to answer those.
Thank you for that thorough overview, Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So thank you for coming, and I appreciate kind of the question and answer. And as you may well know, I believe all commissioners here, but I know certainly for myself, that one of the things that is important to us is to make sure that there's no liquor sales to minors. But I feel comfortable in the comments that were made this morning, that you're very sensitive to that. I think that's really important. Now, having said all that, I did look up Roll-Up Food Truck on the internet while we were talking here, and I think I want to try one of your sandwiches. It's looking pretty good. So maybe I'll take that opportunity to come by and, you know, say hi and try out some of your food. And now I do have one quick question though. You did start as a food truck, so this is kind of now your foray into a brick and mortar.
Yeah,
is that
so
correct?
now we're fully transitioning into a brick and mortar. Our goal is to do away completely with the food truck. We were kind of testing, maybe we'll take it out. We did that a year ago. We bought a small food truck, tried to kind of have our restaurant have the food truck. It just wasn't a good fit. So we're gonna focus fully on the restaurant as well as like external catering. We're gonna do a catering setup. We already do weddings and events and stuff. We're just gonna maximize on that and then just focus on the location.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much.
Any further questions? Or a motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will move to approve item 10.
And I'll second.
That has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay.
Thanks. I just want to say, as you're looking, we always love to hear about businesses that are growing and thriving, and it's not easy. And the risks that you have to take as a business owner to be able to grow your business are significant. So I just want to say thank you for being a contributing member of both our economy and providing a service that is needed and wanted by residents. And I will be voting yes on this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further comments or questions? Okay. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Congratulations. That passes 5-0.
Thank you very much. I will say briefly, I share the same sentiments. Liquor licenses are not rocket science, but they do require some tedious effort to get through. And this young man was there every time I needed him to do something, very conscientious. I think Liquor Pros would tell you the same thing. And again, your staff is always wonderful to work with. I work with administrative agencies across the state. It's sometimes very difficult to do something as simple as a liquor license. Your staff is extremely professional. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and congratulations. Item number 11.
Item number 11 is department and committee reports, non-action items. 11A, Regional Building Department update. Greg DeGrando, PIO, Regional Building Department.
Welcome. Please introduce yourself again for the record, and you can begin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Greg DeGrando. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Pikes Peak Regional Building Department. Our building official, Roger, is unable to be here this morning. He has another important meeting that he had to attend, but he does say hello. I already saw him this morning at another presentation. So we're going to take you through our numbers for 2023. That's why I'm here to talk with you today. This is something we do every year. We just try to make sure you guys are aware of kind of where a lot of the growth is happening in our community. So I'm going to go kind of a broad overview of the Pikes Peak region, and then I'll break down further into El Paso County specifically permit data. So the 2023 highlights, housing construction slowed down for the second straight year. New multifamily projects dropped significantly, but the number of units reaching completion and opening up to rent actually skyrocketed. New commercial plans jumped way up, re-roof permits spiked following the summer hailstorms, and then we successfully navigated the code change back on June 30th. If you guys remember, we came before you probably last spring whenever we went through that code adoption. That deadline was on June 30th when it happened, and I think we can say that it went fairly smoothly. We knew it was always going to come with some hurdles, but it has gone fairly well. On the left, you will see a chart of our single-family homes, and on the right, you'll see the commercial. I will draw your attention to the month of June. That is, again, the month that we had that code change, so that's why you're going to see the large spike in single-family homes, 578 in the month of June. That always happens every time we go through a code change. You always see a very large ramp up in permits as well as plans coming in, and then in the very next month, the plans drop off and the permits drop off. So that's what you saw, 578 in June, and then way down to 128 in the month of July.
Commissioner.
Thanks. So I just want to clarify. So is that because they're trying to beat the implementation of the new codes, or what's the reason there?
There's a couple reasons for it, Commissioner. I mean, part of it is to avoid the extra regulations that come with the code change, but probably the bigger reason is particularly on the home side of things. A lot of our large builders deal with master plans. So they've been building those master plans for roughly 6 years. The construction industry is kind of a creature of habit, if you will. So they like to continue building the home that they've built hundreds of times. So they try to get on that old version of the master plan. So that's why we see a huge increase right ahead of the code change.
Any other questions about that part? Okay.
All right, on the right, you'll see the commercial totals. We came in at 402 for new commercial projects. Solid year, but down pretty significantly compared to 2022. Just keep in mind that in 2021 and 2022, those were very, very strong years for our commercial sector. So again, 402 down, but still pretty solid. Here's a further breakdown
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
I'm sorry. You might have it in a later chart, but the one that had the single-family home and the commercial, do you have a similar analysis for multifamily that looks like this?
So multifamily is a little bit tricky. Whenever we're looking at new commercial and single family, these are looking at the permits. The reason multifamily is tricky is because it's not so much permit equals units. So you might have one permit that equals 500 units, and then you might have other permits that are equal 30 units.
Okay.
So we tend to count up the units, and I do have a slide for that later on.
Okay, great. I'll wait for that one. Thanks.
So again, here's the breakdown on the homes. Single-family homes, we came in at 2,785. That's down 25% compared to 2022, and that's the fewest number of new homes we've seen since 2014. The breakdown by all of the jurisdictions that we serve: Colorado Springs had 1,342, followed by El Paso County, Monument, Fountain, Woodland Park, Manitou, Palmer Lake, and then Green Mountain Falls. You will notice Monument and Fountain both have those percentages off to the right. Those were the only two jurisdictions that we had that posted positive gains. I will point out that some of Monument's numbers are actually going to technically be in unincorporated El Paso County. The way that it flags in our system, they come up under Monument, but I think technically it is going to be unincorporated El Paso County. So those numbers might be off just a little bit.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This may also be in a later chart of yours, but those are pretty revealing numbers about how the housing market has really slowed down. And I think we still have a challenge with regard to having sufficient housing for the people that live here or want to move here. So has there been an analysis about why this has happened, or is it stuff that we probably pretty know? The increased interest rates and supply chain problems, or I don't know if you've got more insights on those.
I would say, Commissioner, that you're on the right track. Typically, we kind of leave that to the builders. We'll provide the permit whether the numbers are booming or they're very, very slow. But I think the builders would probably tell you probably a number of the things that you mentioned.
Okay, thank you.
So here's a look at the commercial numbers. And again, I will come back specifically to the El Paso County housing numbers, but here's the commercial. 402, we were down 28%. The new multifamily numbers, we were at 2,248. That is actually down 54% compared to the year of 2022. Just keep in mind that 2022 was a record-breaking year for apartments. So the percentage drop is significant, but that 2,248 is still a strong year. It's just the percentage comparison is to a record-breaking year of apartments in 2022. At the end of the year, we ended with 8,858 apartment units with open permits, meaning those are apartments still under construction. And then one of the things that really jumped out to me on the apartment side of things was the number of units that actually got finished up and came online. So we had more than 3,000 units completed, meaning they are now open and available to renters here in the Pikes Peak region. We expect that number to actually be even higher this year because we had so many permits that were issued for multifamily projects in 2020 and 2021 and 2022. Those large projects are now going to be getting towards completion as we get later and later into 2024. So we think that number might even be larger this year. Some of the other notable commercial projects, you have the Integris project on the Rockrimmon area. That was a $115 million project. The Hunter Apartments is a downtown apartment project, $53 million. You have the Sunset Amphitheater going in up north by the Bass Pro. And then, of course, you have a number of renovation projects happening right now at the Colorado Springs Airport, totaling up to more than $14 million. Total estimated valuation for all construction, that's new homes, that's commercial, that's re-roofs, that's water heaters, absolutely everything, $3.5 billion. So that is down compared to 2022, but that is still a very, very, very large number. So the construction industry continues to play a vital role in our local economy. So our plan review wing of our office, new single family homes, 2,814 plans, that was down 16%. However, towards the end of the year, the last 3 months of the year, fourth month if you include the month of January, the number of single family plans coming in was actually in the positive. So that's certainly a good sign. We use our plan review numbers as our best guess at what's coming. Plan reviews lead to permits. Permits lead to construction. Construction leads to the inspections for our team. So certainly a good sign on the housing side of things when we start to see plan numbers trending up towards the end of the year. Residential alterations, we were down by about 10%. New commercial and multifamily, we were actually up. We were up 10%, and then I went ahead and broke those out for you. New commercial, 419, that was up 7%, and that's the most we've seen on the new commercial side of things since 2007. Multifamily, we had 93, that's up 24%. So even though the permit numbers in 2023 were going down, the plan numbers were actually going up. So there's a good chance we see a number of new multifamily projects coming online later this year to get permitted. Commercial alterations, we were flat, and then total plans, we were at 13,795. That's down 9% compared to 2022. Inspection numbers, we had 286,524 inspections last year. That's actually down 16% compared to the extremely busy 2022. We ended the year with 65 inspectors. The department averages about 1,146 per day. Daily average is about 19 per inspector, everything except for our roofing inspectors. I'll talk about that briefly here in a moment. Miles driven, if you look at our entire fleet, we drove more than 1 million miles last year to get around to our areas. You guys are very well aware, El Paso County is quite large, so we do cover a lot of ground. Still offering same-day inspections. We are one of the only building departments in the entire state of Colorado that offers same-day inspections, something that is crucial to our local building community. That is on everything except for roofing. Roofing does have a bit of a backlog now because of our hailstorms that we had last summer. So we're a little bit of a backlog on the roofing side of things. We do have, because we were a little bit slower last year on the inspection side of things, we have had a number of our building inspectors as well as our mechanical inspectors. They go out and do their regular day, and then they shift over and they go out and do 5 to 10 roofs just to kind of help bring some of that backlog down. So here is a visual look at our permit activity. I know this is very, very small, but all of those green triangles that you're looking at there are single-family homes. The purple squares are going to be the new apartment complexes, and there's a few red stars that are kind of hard to see, but those are going to be the new hotels. Now, I know that looks like an awful lot, but this might actually look even crazier. This is the re-roof permits following the hailstorms this summer. We permitted 17,793 re-roof permits last year. That's a 179% increase. But again, don't let that increase freak you out too much. We didn't have a hailstorm in 2022. We very much did have a hailstorm in 2023, so that's why you have that extremely large increase. On the right, you'll have a look at the hardest hit area. It's in the Briargate area that's west of Powers, and then the area south of Research. You can basically see dots on every home, door to door to door. That's pretty much where our roofing inspectors have been living these days.
Commissioner Geithner.
So this is just kind of context on this, but I know just a couple meetings ago, we had a conversation around the property tax bills going out, and I mentioned to folks that before they think that all the increases they might be seeing from their escrow on their mortgages might be taxes, actually there have been pretty large increases in homeowners insurance. And I think 45% increases were what I saw. I actually talked to someone in the insurance industry on that, and I just kind of want to point out that this is part of the reason why. There was a huge hailstorm, and when you look at the inflation that's caused it to be more expensive to replace these roofs for people, and this is a part of why we are seeing those increases. It's related to inflation, but it kind of is lagging behind the other things that we've seen in terms of costs going up, because it wasn't until after you got a storm and then those costs increased and you saw that huge amount that insurance companies are making those adjustments. So anyway, just wanted to point that out as a piece of the overall economic picture.
Great comments. Question from Commissioner Vanderburg.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This may be something that you don't do in regional building, but let me just at least ask the question. I know that there are new technologies out there to replace roofs with new roofs that have much more robust protection against hail and so forth. I know that specifically because I did that at my house. And not in 2023, but in a previous year, I think it was 2018 or 17 maybe, we had a hailstorm that ruined our roof and went through insurance, did all of that, and then we put up on the roof a new, I forget what the codes are, but it's like something Class A kind of asphalt style material, but it has a pretty thick rubbery type of compound in it that actually causes hail to bounce off the roof rather than damage the roof tiles. So I don't know if there's any analysis of that, if any of the new technologies are actually helping, because if there is something out there and we could encourage its use across the community, that might be actually beneficial with regard to insurance rates. So do we do anything like that?
Commissioner, thank you for the question. I would not be the expert to address that directly, but I would say that new technology coming online is a big reason of why we go through code change. A lot of times people think of the code change as negative because it brings a lot of extra regulation, and that is true to some degrees, but it also allows us to bring on new technologies, quite possibly like you described, in order to allow certain things, certain types of methods in construction, as well as new materials and whatnot. So that is something that is always factored in to the code change. But to your specific roof, that I'm unable to speak to that if that's something that we have now.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up. Whatever that technology is, the materials that are now in that roof, we had a couple of fairly substantial hailstorms after we re-roofed our house, and the roof was not harmed at all. And two of those hailstorms, the hail was actually pretty big. So I do know there is technology on roofing, which it just seems like it'd be great to have a broader application of that here, and maybe that's happening. I just don't know. So thanks.
No further questions?
I was just going to say, I can see where my house is, and it appears I was one of the fortunate ones. Maybe some of that new technology on roofing with the hail-resistant roofing. So thank you.
Okay, so the next slide is kind of the further breakdown for El Paso County specific. Single-family homes for the county, 945. We were down 33%. And then I just pulled out, this obviously isn't going to be all El Paso County communities, but I did just pull out some of the larger ones. The Falcon area had 205. Lorson Ranch had 129. The Enclave at Mountain Vista, 52, Trails at Aspen Ridge, which is just to the northwest of Lorson Ranch. That one had 48. Windermere, 44. And the Mayberry, that is the project that is just west of Elcott out on the plains, that had 28 new homes. Single family estimated valuation. So again, this is the estimated valuation, not what the homes are actually sold for, but the estimated valuation to build, $480 million. And then residential alterations, we were up slightly on that one, just over almost 19,000. Estimated valuation there, 175 million. I will point out on the alterations, part of the reason that that is in the positive is because re-roof permits fall underneath that residential alteration umbrella. So because we had so many re-roof permits, it kind of did contribute to the residential alteration numbers being up. So here's kind of a further look. I'm going to take you through a number of the different communities in the county to show you this. On the left, you'll have Banning Lewis. I know that's in the city, but it's just to kind of give you some comparison. So 160 in Banning Lewis. And then you have the Falcon area on the right, 205. Lorson Ranch, you had 129 in the lower right, and then trails at Aspen Ridge, just to the northwest of that at 48. That was a community that popped up in 2022, and that continues to grow. And then there was a new community that popped up just to the northeast of that, Bradley Heights, 17 new homes going in there. The Windermere and the Enclave at Mountain Vista. This is located at North Carefree and Mark Shuffle. At 44 new homes going into the Windermere community, and then the Enclave had 52 new homes going in there. Here's a look at the Mayberry. These triangles are going to be slightly different colors because I included the 2022 totals. So the dark green are going to be 2022, and then you have the 2023 of the lighter green. So 28 new homes going in there. And here's a look at Monument, and I'm including Monument on here because, again, a lot of these, particularly on the left side of the screen, that is going to be what I believe is unincorporated El Paso County, but it flags in our system as Monument. And then the homes in the upper right, that I believe is going to flag technically in Monument. And then you also notice on this screen you have a number of new apartments going in as well. Those are going to fall under Monuments jurisdiction. And then here's the breakdown by neighborhood. This isn't just going to be El Paso County. This will be all of our top communities. Forest Lakes, as I mentioned, 214, then Falcon, Banning, Wolf Ranch, Lorson Ranch, Cordera, Springs Ranch, Skyview, Fountain, and then Mountain Vista. Here's kind of a breakdown of the commercial numbers. You guys were flat for new commercial with 208. And then these are some of the larger projects that I pulled out. Constitution Storage, Electronic Storage, and then you have D49 had a new transportation center. Cherokee Metro had a water treatment plant. Elcott has a school addition. And then there's a giant St. John the Baptist Church that's going in. That's a $2 million project for that church. Commercial estimated valuation, 72 million, and then commercial alterations, 599, they were up by 8%. Here's the multifamily side of things. New multifamily for the county came in at 94. That's down 31%. The one large project that you guys had in the county was the Citizen on Constitution Apartments. That's going to be Constitution and Mark Shuffle is going to be the area where that's underway. Apartment estimated valuation, 88 million. Apartments currently under construction for the entire Pikes Peak region. We now have 8,946 units under construction. Of that, 1,002 units are under construction in El Paso County. Here's a look at those apartments. On the left, you're going to have the new apartments that were permitted last year. On the right, you're going to have those same projects, but also paired with the 2022 totals. So the lighter purple is going to be 2022, and the darker purple will be 2023. So the data that I've kind of gone through with you guys is not available in this form on our website, but we do have our PPRBD GIS mapping tool that will show the data. It'll just look a little bit differently. I have shown this tool to a number of Crystal Latier and your economic development folks to kind of walk them through this so they can use this, and you guys are also welcome to use this as well. This tool will allow you to, on the left side, you can kind of filter that down depending on what you want to look for. If you want to look for where the single family home production is happening, you can click on that. And then you can actually set the jurisdiction to El Paso County, or you can set it to Fountain, to Colorado Springs, whatever you would like. And then that will then change the map that you'll see on the right. In the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a number of layers. One of the layers that you can select there is the El Paso County BOCC districts. And that is what you'll see on the left-hand portion there. All the districts are going to be color-coded, so you could actually pull up the single-family home data, and then you could then look, Commissioner Gonzalez, you could look into your district and say, okay, these are the permits that are happening here. So you can either do it by filter and have the permits data pop up only for your district, or you can pull up all data and then turn this layer on and actually just look for yourself where the activity is actually happening.
Commissioner Geithner.
So I just want to ask if you guys have updated this for the most recent redistricting? Because it does not look like it has been updated.
That is probably correct. So I think, when did you go through the redistrict?
Just over the summer.
So I think this would have, I think it was around the same time. So I think we have the data layer, I guess probably would have been over the summer. That's a great point. So I'll have to talk with my IT staff to see if we can get an updated data file from you guys as the county, and then see if we can lay that over our data.
Thank you.
On the right, you will see, basically if you zoom in further. So as you zoom in on these maps, those clusters in red are going to change because you're basically changing the maps. They're going to move on you a little bit, but once you get down, zoomed in fairly close, you're going to start getting single dots. So if you click on those dots, it will then give you a bunch of information. It will give you the permit number, it will give you the builder, it will give you the square footage, it will give you the estimated valuation. So there's a lot of really valuable information that you can then find just by clicking on those single dots once you get zoomed in close enough. And then we have just now recently added a plans button. It just used to be permits, now we've added the plans. This will look a little bit different. You won't get the red clusters that move. There aren't nearly as many plans submitted as we have permits. So everything is going to be on there on the plan side of things. You'll see a number of green circles, and you'll see a number of yellow triangles. One will be approved plans, but they haven't been permitted yet. Once they are permitted, they will then disappear from this map, and then they will then move over to the red clusters and pop up on that map because they're now permitted. The other is pending. So it's a plan that's been submitted, but it's still working through the process, whether that be our office, zoning, health, fire, whoever, the different external agencies that need to weigh in on it. So this is kind of a great tool to kind of go to see what's maybe coming. If you're looking to move into an area, or you're a developer wanting to know where the growth is happening, you can come to this tool and figure that out. And this slide you guys have seen. We typically bring this slide to you whenever we bring our budget to you. It is slightly changed. Normally, this is a look at our fee schedule based on a home that was valuated at $300,000. There are not very many $300,000 homes out there available these days, so we've bumped this up to $500,000. But from our standpoint, it hasn't changed. We still have the lowest fees in the entire state of Colorado, and on the commercial side of things, we are only second behind Pueblo. And with that, I will try to answer any questions you guys might have for me.
Do you have any questions? Commissioner Williams.
I just wanted to thank you for the wonderful job y'all do. My mother-in-law's building a house in Las Vegas, and it's a pretty tortuous process. So just having a regional building department that functions so well, so quickly, and so responsive is a wonderful thing to be able to tell to our constituents. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other comments? Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll express my appreciation as well. I do have a question, but to Commissioner Williams' comments, and I think maybe my fellow commissioners have heard me say this, but I don't know if I had a chance to share this with you, but when my brother tried to start a restaurant in the city of New York City, actually out in Long Island, there were two departments that belonged to the city. One was the sanitation department. There was some other department. And when they were coming out and doing the inspections, and those two departments did not agree on what the dish cleaning sink drain was supposed to be, how it was supposed to be configured. So he could not get those two departments to agree on the configuration. So when the first person came and said, you've got an incorrect configuration, he fixed the configuration. Second department came out and said, you have the wrong configuration, it has to be this other one. And of course, they could never get the two to agree. And the only way that my brother could actually make it through the inspection process was to change out the sink drain every time he knew which inspector was coming. That was the only, because one wanted configuration A and the other wanted configuration B, and they would not talk to each other. So I don't think we have that going on here, and I would encourage you to make sure we never get to that out here, because that's a real problem for people that are just trying to, run a business, make a business, and deliver goods and services. The question I have is a little bit different from the statistics that you've been talking about, but it's something that has bothered me ever since this state law was passed, and that's the requirement for very strict greenhouse gas emissions requirements for buildings that are over 50,000 feet. It's my understanding the Regional Building Department building qualifies under that law and therefore has some kind of a requirement to change its heating plant system. This, I think, is crazy because this building is a LEED certified building, meeting one of the most modern requirements to lower emissions, that's out there. So do you have a sense, is there a plan regarding that building, or is there a way to get a waiver to it, or are we trying to maybe fight and get it modified so that the building, like a LEED certified building, could be removed from that requirement? So I was interested in any insights you might have on that.
Thank you, Commissioner. That is something that my boss, Roger, is very involved with. In fact, the meeting that he is at right now, I have it here, the Colorado Air Quality Commission rulemaking hearing. They're the ones that came up with Rule 28. So he is very involved with that, and part of it is, okay, we know the rule had passed, but now we don't exactly know how to go to the next step of coming into compliance. What are the things we need to do? Are there waivers? There's certainly still a lot of questions that are hanging out there, and that is what Roger and our team is tasked with doing right now, is making sure that they are completely on top of everything, fully understanding of what those next steps are. But at this point, me personally, I'm not able to speak to that. Roger would be your man on that.
Okay, thank you. Well, you can just relay to Roger that I'd be interested in the outcomes and the pathway forward and what we're trying to do with regard to it, because the law is nonsensical and would require, we've got other buildings in El Paso County that are non-compliant as well. And to my latest understanding of that particular bill, the only way to comply is to electrify the heating plant, to remove natural gas. And I could be wrong with that, but that's my understanding. So I'd be interested in knowing, where we're going on that with regard to the regional building and really all of the El Paso County buildings. So thanks.
Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you. So I just wanted to say, as the chair of the Regional Building Board, we have put a lot of time and energy. Roger has been fantastic on that. I went up and testified on that, as well as another member of the Regional Building Board. So we have been engaging on that process. It is a frustrating one, nonetheless. I just also want to mention that Brian Olson also was up testifying on that. So, it's been a collaborative process, and we continue to work on that. But certainly that would be maybe something that we could ask Roger to come back and do, is give a specific update for us all on the progress, I suppose, of that particular rulemaking.
Understood.
Any other questions or comments? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Always appreciate a great update. Is this presentation available on your website, our website? Well, it will be a part of our official public record for sure, but.
Certainly. So the data will not be available in the green triangle format, but you can use our GIS mapping function. So all the data there, it'll just look a little bit differently, but you guys do have it, I believe. Well, you will have it. It's not in your packets, but if you do need it, I can certainly get it to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Good to see you guys. Thank you.
You too. Item number 12.
Item number 12 is the addendum, and there is no addendum today.
And as mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, we are going to take a brief recess from this meeting and call to order our PID. So the regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners on February 20th is in recess. And I will call to order at this time Public Improvement District Number 2 meeting for Tuesday, February 20th. Item number 1.
Item number 1 is the consent calendar consisting of 1A.
Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on any item on the consent calendar? Hearing none in the room and none online.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is my district, so I'll move to approve item 1A.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Any further comments? I'll call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Item number 2.
Item number 2 is the called up consent calendar, and there are none.
Public Improvement District Number 2 meeting is adjourned. And I will call back to order at this time the regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. We just completed item number 12. Item number 13.
Item number 13 is the executive session. Executive session request pursuant to CRS 246402-4B. The county attorney's office is requesting an executive session to provide legal advice regarding services that El Paso County offices, agencies, or departments are authorized or obligated to provide to individuals based upon their immigration status under federal, state, and local laws, rules, and regulations. Kenneth Hodges, County Attorney.
I move we go into executive session for the purposes stated on the record.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Any further comments? Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. We are now in executive session.